Salutations, everybody. Welcome back to Cruising with the Carsons. We're here to talk to you today about a situation that happened in the RV park today that involved us for the second time in our life. The first time we thought was just a fluke thing, and that was January 27th of 2023 at the RV park we were at.
This one.
The same park we're at now. There was an active shooter situation that went on for over 8 hours right behind our camper.
Wait. I wonder if he got shot, hurt, or something.
Here he comes, he's coming up. Why, Jesus? Oh my God.
Again.
Oh my God, he's really shooting back.
He's shooting.
He's
Now
shooting my...
Lord, shooting.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Lord Jesus.
Oh my gosh. He's shooting back.
It was a terrifying situation, and we thought it was just a once-in-a-lifetime fluke. Not the case.
We're not that lucky.
No, we're not that lucky. That's why we decided y'all come back now. So we came back to the same RV park because we love it here. It's a beautiful park. Really never been any problems. But today, all of a sudden, I see a gentleman come out of the camper right behind us. And I'm on my laptop taking care of work stuff. And all of a sudden, I see him acting erratically and behaving crazy. I watch him reach into his pocket, pull something out, and put it on his hand and snort it. I don't know what that was. I have a fairly good idea. Obviously, we all do. But shortly after that, I'll show you the video. So let's just cut to the... So, that's as much of the video I shot that I can show you. The rest of it I had to turn over to the police department, but shortly before I started taking the video, I watched him come out of his camper, reach into his right pocket, and I saw him looking around, and he put something right here in what we call the anatomical snuff box. And I know that because I come from a family of 8 doctors, so... This is referred to as the anatomical snuff box because the old-timers and miners used to put their snuff right on there and, whoo, there's gold in them heels. Yeah, maybe that's not how it quite worked, but that's why they call it that. So I watched him take a big hard snort, and then he started screaming and banging on his head and holding his nose and acting erratically.
Whooping, making whooping noises.
And as he was moving around... He kept he was fumbling with his shirt, kept pulling it up and acting weird like you saw in the video. And that's when I saw the gun tucked in his hip. And I immediately went to my wife and told her, grab the dogs, get into the bedroom, which is in the front of the camper, and stay down. she said, "What's going on? What's going on?" I told her what's happening. She looked out the far back window and saw the gentleman holding the gun up in the air, waving it around and flipping off all the campers around. Other people are walking their dogs and driving by. I immediately grabbed my handgun, and Kay thought I was going outside to confront the guy. I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's vigilante RV justice. Hey, you got a gun? Pew pew, I shoot you." No, that's not how it
I
works.
think a little PTSD kicked in from
Yeah,
the previous.
a little bit. So her emotions were running quite high. I was staying calm and trying to handle the situation as I had 911 on the phone. That conversation with 911 pretty much went, "911, what's your location and emergency?" I told them. I said, "We have a gentleman who's cracked out. I just watched him do some kind of drugs, and he's waving a gun around. People are walking by. I said he's come within 5 feet of my camper. Here's what he's wearing. Here's what I'm wearing." I said, "I am armed. I have my concealed carry. I'm a trained shooter." And I said, "I will tell you, if he fires that weapon on anybody, I'm going to kill him," were my exact words to 911. And she said, I understand, sir. Stay calm." I'm like, "I'm calm, perfectly calm. You want me to stay on the phone with you?" I said, "No. I want to protect my family, and I need to warn the other RV'ers who are close by me." The whole point of this video is this. You don't have to worry, hon. There's not one in the chamber. The whole point of this video is this. Self-defense. There are a couple people I've talked to in the park here that don't even have a gun. And my answer to that is, how do you expect to defend yourself or protect yourself in a situation? What are the odds I would ever be put in that situation? Well, I'll tell you what. For the first time, I was scared that everyone's nightmare who does conceal and carry or open carries was that for the first time in my life, I may have to take another human life. That's what went through my head. And that part was very scary. Now, some people have an issue with guns. I know a lot of RV'ers have guns. I immediately called my next door neighbor, who's my dear friend from Minnesota, who we shoot together, so I know he carries. I talked to the other two right beside us, who I know carry. My point is, all 4 of us in this row have a handgun, and we know how to use it. You need to protect your family. You need to protect your loved ones and your best interest. This is my world sitting right next to me. I will go to the ends of the earth to protect that. I will take another human life if that person is threatening me with deadly force. If you don't own a handgun and you don't know how to shoot, I'm not telling you to just go out and get licensed and buy a handgun. You need to be trained. You need to know what you're doing in a given situation. So if you don't own a handgun and you're thinking of getting one, you need to find a respectable trainer, a respectable course that has good reviews, and you need to spend some time behind the wheel. And by that I mean behind that trigger. You need to know what you're doing and you need to be prepared.
You need to educate yourself.
Absolutely. You need to advocate. Nobody will advocate for you except you. I told that 911 operator what I'm wearing. I told her the situation. I told her this gentleman is wearing what he's wearing. I said, if I'm outside when your officers pull up, they need to know what I'm wearing so they know that I am not the threat if they see me out there with a handgun. I don't know what that guy was going to do. He was cranked up big time. Come to find out that the gal that he was with was his ex-wife, a respectable nurse who passed all the background checks here in the park. However, she made a bad choice. He was a 8-year felon. He spent 8 years in prison. He just got out. He talked her into letting him be there to see the kids and that he'd cleaned himself up and got his act together, and he was on probation.
Parole.
He was on parole. Well, we know that's in the wayside now because he's a convicted felon who took her handgun. He knew where it was, brought that outside. So here's a convicted felon holding a handgun that's not registered to him, who has a felony record, he's going away for a long time.
Oh,
But
and
what if?
he was on drugs, obviously.
Yeah. So he's looking at several charges. But my point is, what if things would have gone much differently? And what if he would have got 5 feet away from my camper and started shooting? Would you be prepared? Would you be ready to eliminate the threat? Would you be ready to defend your wife? Or if you're a female, would you be ready to defend yourself? Would you be trained? Would you know how? Would you stay calm? Do you know your rights? As a citizen carrying a handgun, can you carry it in the state that you're at? If you're from another state, you need to know your reciprocity laws. I informed the 911 operator for my safety as well, that if I had to be outside, don't shoot me. I'm not the threat. Here's what I'm wearing. Luckily, I caught what I caught on video. Sorry that video wasn't in landscape mode, but when you're in a situation like that, yeah, you don't always think of everything, but I put my phone down so I could go tend to my wife and our safety. Now, having gone through that similar situation back on January 27th, from a woman's perspective, what do you want to tell viewers?
From a woman's perspective, I was terrified.
Yeah.
You know, I was more scared and terrified at what happened today.
So that's the big question is, are you ready? Can you handle one of these? Are you trained with one of these? We never in a million years ever expected to have 2 situations in our life within, 3 years apart. We never thought it would happen, but it happened. I found myself in a situation where I needed to hurriedly be prepared. And I was ready. Even in this camper, I have 3 guns at different spots in the camper. So if I don't have one on me, I have 2 in here at very convenient, easy to get to spots that no one else can see where they're at. But I know where they are. And I thought today that would be the day that I had to be ready. And I knew that I was ready. Kay actually got mad at me because one thing you never say to a woman who's emotionally charged is calm down. I went over like a fart in church. She looked at me, she's like, no, you can't. She was freaking out, and I understand that. So when you have those forces where you have an active person outside with a gun in their hand and you don't know which way it's going to go, and your spouse is emotionally freaking out, you've got to know what to do in those situations. And I'll be the first to admit it. I told her, I said, honey, shut up, get in that bedroom, shut the door, and get down. And she did. In closing, when Kay first met me, she knew I was a very active hunter, and she knows. I've got dozens of toys, we'll put it that way. Whether it's long guns, handguns, shotguns, etc. I grew up, my dad's an Army doctor, retired now, but we grew up with a gun in our hand. We learned how to shoot. We were trained gun safety, never had an issue. I have tried before to get Kay interested and active and train her how to shoot, how to be proactive
shoot
and safety.
A handgun.
Right.
I'm also a hunter.
Yep.
You know.
But handguns is not her.
I'm not a
thing.
fan of handguns. I can shoot a .270 rifle, kill a bear.
That's
turkey.
true. Yeah. I don't get that. Here's a woman who literally has shot bear, deer, turkeys, etc. You know, wild game. But when it comes to handguns, she doesn't want much to do with it. So I'd kind of like to know from you women out there, if you watch this channel, do you carry? Are you a trained shooter? I'm really curious what your perspective is on that, as well as some of you husbands out there who have maybe taught your wife how to shoot or talked her into carrying a handgun. I'd love to hear from you. But anyway, we didn't want to make this a long video. It's kind of turned out to be that, so we should probably say goodbye now. Thank you guys. See ya.
See ya.
You good?
We're good.
Okay, we'll see you guys on the next one. We got some interesting videos coming up for you. You're going to have to come back, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. One more time with hands. Bye.
Bye.